Hey there, everyone, this is a hassle to record. Okay, welcome to Darkest Dungeon. You've probably heard and seen a ton about this game already because everyone's been playing it because it's actually kind of amazing. And I wanted to make a video because, well, actually I want to make several videos over the course of the game's lifespan. But for now, we're going to start with this one. So this is going to be a kind of introductory what the game is like right now sort of video. And I'm going to do a run for you guys, so... Darkest Dungeon is a dungeon crawler that is very heavily based in narrative and sanity, essentially, things like that. It's basically takes the aspect of what would happen if you had a bunch of adventurers crawling through dark, terrible dungeons all the time, fighting horrible monstrosities, and what that would do to their brains, and the answer is they would lose their minds. So basically it's trying to capture the darker side of dungeon crawling, more or less. Very interesting, actually, and you probably noticing first off the art style. The entire game looks like this. It's like drawn, heavy shading, really heavy border marks and things like that. It's very, very well done, actually. The graphic style is, as you can see, very cool. So I guess to just start, what exactly is all this? Well, you have an estate, and basically you are collecting adventurers. As you can see, I have 14 of them right now, and they will be expendable for a while, unfortunately. Think XCOM. And you are trying to go into the various dungeons and reclaim your family's opulence from the not-so-good clouds of horribleness that have taken it over. All the while kind of restoring this town outside of your estate to its former glory, or at least something resembling its former glory. And there is permadeath, so when a character dies, they're gone for good. And right now I have one death. I have poor Mercier, the bounty hunter here, that succumbed to blight after failing to be cured twice by my useless plague doctor that I still love. She tried, but it didn't work. And, yeah, so when characters die, they're gone, and that's important because you can spend a very large amount of money on individual characters, and once you've done that and leveled them up several times, losing them hits pretty hard. Again, I think XCOM, basically. The idea is you're trying to not put so much into every character that, like, if they die, you're out a huge amount of money and have to start over, but you also need them to be powerful enough to actually complete missions. So it's a balancing act, just like the original XCOM, and somewhat the remake as well. And a lot of people are calling this a roguelike, but they are wrong. It is not a roguelike. The only roguelike elements it has are permadeath and random dungeon generation, but other than that, it's really a dungeon crawler. It's an adventure game, and it does it pretty well. So let's start off in the estate here. You can use all of these buildings for different things. The Abbey and the Tavern are for stress relief. These little white squares below people are their stress bars, and when their stress gets to full, their resolve is tested, and usually bad things, but very rarely good things can happen. So you send them to these various places in order to help reduce their stress levels, and try not to have them freak the heck out, because that's bad. You also have a guild and a blacksmith, which can be used for permanent upgrades on your people. So if I, for instance, drag him in here, these are the abilities he has access to. Everyone starts with 4. You can unlock more, and you can upgrade their current abilities. And the same goes for the blacksmith. You can upgrade people's equipment by slapping them in there, and boom. Oh, I can upgrade that. I think I'll do that, actually. There we go. Haha. And you also have this wagon, which sells rare items for $8 billion. And you have the graveyard, which I showed you. As well as the survivalist, which upgrades the camping skills, which is something I'll explain. And the stagecoach, which is very important because when everyone dies, this is where you'll have to go to get people that aren't dead. Basically. There are always new adventures here every week. Every adventure takes a week. And every building can be upgraded by using these heirlooms. So you have 2 resources, I guess technically you have 5, but 2 types of resources. You have gold, which is used in provisioning and in using these buildings, so, you know, buying things, upgrading skills, putting people in stress relief. Also the sanitarium, which treats their quirks and diseases, which is another thing I'll explain. And you have heirlooms, busts, portraits, deeds, and crests, which are used to upgrade the buildings in town and restore your former glory, which is the entire point. So the characterization is very interesting. Everyone, like I said, starts with 4 abilities they have, and every class, there are various classes, have different abilities, lots of different ones, and every class has its own unique place in a party. And basically, the quirk system, it encompasses the growth of your characters. They'll start with different positive and negative quirks, and as you adventure with them, they will gain more, essentially. So he started with God-fearing, which means the only way you can relieve his stress is to send him to pray. And then later on, I was fighting various horrible evil things, and he got demonomania, so he believes he's possessed by demons now, which is just fantastic because he's a crusader. And basically, some of these are more obvious, like Fragile getting 10% max HP loss, so that's obvious what that does, but some of them are not quite as obvious, and you'll only kind of figure out what they do once you're in an adventure and they start to do stupid things. Like, for instance, he had kleptomania, which meant that every time I found a random piece of loot or a chest to search, he would have a chance of just opening it by himself without me wanting him to, which is a problem if, say, it was locked and trapped, so he would spring the trap and I couldn't stop him. And there's also a chance that he'll just steal all your shit, which is annoying. So loot is something that you very much get. I have this ancestral drop here, the Tough Ring, which is awesome, and I want to put it on someone, but I'm afraid they'll gamble it away. Yes, they can. So max HP, dodge, and protection. Almost every item has a negative stat. So even this very high sort of loot grade ancestral ring has minus dodge. A lot of dodge, by the way. I think I'll give it to him now that he's not a kleptomaniac anymore. Boop. That puts his dodge down to 0. So that's awesome. He can't dodge attacks, but it does give him a ridiculous amount of HP, and it would be best if I put him in the sanitarium to get that treated. There we go. So next week, after my next adventure, he'll be out of there, and hopefully he'll have that treated. So I guess let's show you how the actual game works. Embarking on adventures. You have many areas to go in, and there will be random quests each week. And as you can see, everyone has levels. You level up quite slowly in this game, except for from 0 to 1, which only takes 1 mission. But above that, it takes a little while each time. So you'll have to kind of keep your people happy if you can. And really, there are so many different kinds of missions, actually, that you'll probably find something, even for your new characters. Let's say you have like a bunch of level 4s, that'll still generate level 1 quests for you if you ever have to start over because a bunch of people die and you're out of money, which can very much happen. Level 5 quest, oh my. I don't think I'll be doing that, thank you. So let's just do an easier one. In this case, I have to just do all the room battles in the ruins, so we'll do that. Level 1 quest, it's short, which means there's no camping. You can camp only on medium and long missions, though, which gives you access to a bunch of other abilities and things. I might try and show you that, but for now, let's just get going. So every character has a preferred position, which is this in combat. The positioning matters very much so, and their position is determined by their abilities. In this case, all those yellow or white dots they indicate the position that character has to be in to use that ability. So Hand of Light, she can only use if she's one of the first 2 in the line, and Divine Comfort she can't use if she's the first one, and so on and so forth. Every one of these has assorted requirements for being used, and that means you basically want to try and get a good party made up of both people with good abilities that can be used and actually a party that complements each other, something without a super obvious weakness. So I'm going to put my leper up front. Yes, leper is a class, because of course it is. I'd like to take her, which means I won't be able to use her Iron Swan ability, because she'll be in 2nd place, but I'll do that. I'd like to level her up, so let's see. She's a Hellion, which uses pole arms. Then we have this Occultist, which is awesome. I think I'll put him 3rd. He can't use his last ability 3rd, but he can use everything else. And let's see, if she's in the last spot, she can use Judgment and Healing. Having a healer along is probably a good idea, and I did just upgrade her, so we'll do that. And then that's your party for the mission. You can take 4, always. Always have to take 4. You cannot take less. You can end up with less if people die, but you can't start the mission with less than 4, so. Now you go to the provisioning stage. This is very important. So you spend your gold on what you're taking with you into the adventure, but once the adventure is done, the stuff disappears and you don't get refunded. So that means you have to be careful about what you take. You have to take what you're going to use without taking too much and wasting money, but you have to make sure you take enough. So I'm going to take about 8 food. You can usually find some food in the dungeon, so 8 is enough for 2 meals, which is pretty good. We'll take a shovel, we'll take a key, some bandages, and a bunch of torches, about 5 of them. So that should be enough stuff, I hope. This is a short mission, so we'll go. We'll see. I might have screwed myself over, but you never know. You can escape, of course. You can escape battles and leave if you want to, but remember that you don't get refunded, so you don't want to waste too much money. Alright, here we are.
Be driven back. And what better place to begin?
This is a game that is actually able to be controlled entirely with the mouse, and yet is not a simple game at all. So this is the map, pretty short in this case. These are each rooms, and these are hallways. So we have to move along and kind of explore. As you're exploring, you can move left to right, and you'll find things you can interact with. Now, this is locked, so if I wanted, I could use a key to unlock it. Or I could just try and open it, but that would probably mean that it's trapped, so we'll use a key on it. Boop! I get treasures! Some busts, some gold, and some crests. Boom. There we go. This one's also locked. I don't have another key. I could probably use a shovel, but I'd rather keep the shovel for moving stuff out of the way. So let's just try and open it. Yep, it's trapped. Ah, he got blighted. I didn't bring anything to cure blight, and you cannot use healing abilities outside of battle, because that would basically mean you were able to heal infinitely because there's no mana meter, so you can only use abilities in battle, which is a turn-based battle system that you'll see likely very soon. Oh, there's a trap there. Dang it.
Mechanical hazards, possessed by evil intent.
So as you can probably tell, the game gets very, very difficult, and the narration style is awesome. The writing in this game is basically like reading a Lovecraft book. There's actually a lot of Lovecraftian similarities in the lore and things in this game, including just some of the words they use, like Eldritch and Antediluvian and Tenebrous, and I'm expecting the word gibbous to show up at some point. Yeah, it's kind of awesome. Okay, here is an alchemy table. I can do all kinds of things. One of the things I figured out is if you drag a torch in here, you'll tend to create like a flaming solution that will restore your torch meter all the way to full, which normally a torch only restores like 25 of the 100, but if you put it in one of these, it restores all 100. But in this case, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to see what happens. Better than a trap indeed. Didn't do anything for us this time. An Iron Maiden. What could go wrong? Let's poke it. Oh, loot. Actually got kind of lucky there. This is actually a limited inventory, by the way. What you see is all you can store. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, these like 16 places. Uh-oh, battle. Okay. Oh, and they got surprised. That's a good start for us. That means we each get a turn before they do. Surprise is determined by random chance, of course, like most things in this game. This is a very dice-rolly game. You'll have all kinds of random effects. But the torch level is really interesting. It's risk-reward, basically. The dimmer the light goes, the better the loot you get, and the more chance you have to crit, but you can be surprised, which will shuffle your party around. The monsters do more damage and have higher accuracy and things like that, and you gain stress faster. So you have to balance your light levels depending on how confident you are and how good your party's doing. So my leper has rabies, because of course he does, which means he does a crap ton of damage, but he has really low accuracy. So we'll see what happens. And they dodged, of course. Alright, let's see. Let's use Abyssal Artillery. Boom! So, turn-based combat system, everything is based on position, so the white dots are the position they have to be in, like I said, and the red dots are the enemy positions that will actually get hurt by the attack. So, that's something to consider. Positioning is very important in this game, and as you can see when you hover over someone, you can see all their resistances as well as the chance that the particular attack has to hit, the kind of damage range it's going to do, and things like that. Everything pretty much is determined by RNG. Everything is a dice roll, more or less. Your chance to hit, your chance to resist things, everything is very dice rolly. Some people aren't going to like that. I personally don't mind, probably because I'm a horrible person that played way too much XCOM and am totally okay with that. I think we need to start killing some of these guys pretty quick while they're surprised. So that was a good start for us, so now they get to go. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna try this hue again. That's a 60% chance to hit. There we go. That was good. You do get stress relief for actually killing things, generally speaking, but you get a lot of stress when you get hit, especially if you get crit. It's very stressful, so there we go. Actually, it's so stressful that your entire party will get stress points if even one of your people gets a crit on them, so that's something to consider. Oh, nice. And when you get a crit, your entire party, or at least some of you, get pretty happy about it. An extra shovel and a blight charm. Ooh.
And insidious killer.
Yeah, writing is great. So the itemization is interesting. You'll get all kinds of these random charms you can give to people. And like this protection stone I have, and they're pretty fleeting. You got to be careful. Like I said, almost all of them will have a negative side to them, and just about all of them can be lost. For instance, if you send someone to gamble, they can actually gamble your items away and lose them forever, which is kind of a dick move, but it's really funny. So, alright, we're gonna keep going. We have to go to all of the rooms that have battles in them, so Sack's contents are yours. Some people have complained that the stress system is a little too punishing. I personally don't think so, because the higher level your people get, the less stress they get from missions that are at or below their level, which is interesting. There are various ways to relieve stress on longer missions, like camping, using certain items. Like, there are these confessional booths that you can use this holy water stuff on to purify. That'll give you a good chance of relieving a lot of stress. And the fact that you get minus stress from killing enemies and getting crits and things like that is fairly important. I don't think that the stress is overblown or like too difficult or anything. I don't really have a problem with it. They surprised us, so our party got shuffled. I do think it would be nice maybe to have a couple more instances where stress relief can happen. Like, say if one of your party members dodged an attack. Because, I mean, technically that would, like, really hype you up, right? Like, if you dodged a horrible attack, it would, like, make you feel good. You'd be all happy about it. So I feel like your characters dodging successfully should get some stress relief, possibly. I think that would be an alright thing. Dang it, it dodged. But really, I don't think the stress is a problem. Some people have complained that it's imbalanced. I personally don't think so. It seems fine to me. But, again, some extra options to relieve it wouldn't go amiss, necessarily. Alright, so that battle didn't go too badly. We need to rejig our party, though. There we go. Alright, we're good. Now, if you do this and abandon the quest, you do get to keep all of the loot you found. So all of the heirlooms and loot and stuff that you got, you still get to keep, but just remember that, of course, you won't be refunded the stuff that you provisioned. So if you spent like 2,000 on provisions and then didn't use like half of it, you're not in the best spot. Alright, so there's a battle in this room, and there's a battle in that room. So we're going to have to go through this entire place then. You can actually avoid some rooms depending on where what the objective is, but in this case we're going to have to go to all of them. So here we go. You can get scouting information randomly. Sometimes you'll find maps and things like that. Loot! More food. Sweet. We'll probably have to eat soon. So you're kind of getting the point. I think this is how the game goes. It's really pretty cool, actually. Uh-oh. I should have used an item or something. I got some stress. It's a very, very unique game. He's got a 10% chance. 30. We'll have her try it. And nope, trapped. Lame. Didn't work. Whoops. Bring to life. I think that they've done a really, really very good job with this. I think that it's a super interesting concept, and they've pulled it off very, very well. I've been having a lot of fun playing this. It's definitely unique. I've not really played anything like this before, and it's so well done. The character classes are varied and interesting, and there's more to come. I think there's 4 more that they're going to put in the game. There's like a man-at-arms, a beastmaster, another one, and I think a Kickstarter reward class. I don't know all the details, but it seems awesome, and the classes that are already in the game benefit from having a lot of varied abilities that work together, interestingly, and also, of course, they have those camping abilities that every class has different ones, although some share a couple of basic ones. It's a very cool concept. You hardly ever see the whole, like, one who fights monsters sanity thing. I think it's a very cool concept. As like a huge Lovecraft reader, I read almost everything he ever put out. The writing in this game and the theme is so interesting. The theme that sanity is something almost physical, that insanity is something that can almost be held in an area like a fog. It's something that can almost, in a way, madness is almost treated as an infectious disease. That's something that's always interested me a lot in terms of writing, and ooh, that's a powerful heal, but it has a chance of making them bleed if they don't resist it, which is kind of cool. Oh my god! 34 crit! Jeez! You're a beast. Alright, sweet.
This expedition at least promises success.
Chest with your family's sigil. Let's shovel it open. Had no effect, but it used it. Darn. I guess it's not locked, so that didn't really matter. It's trapped, of course it is. Blight again. I'm really regretting not bringing anything to cure Blight this round. It's kind of silly. Alright, let's go back. Luckily, moving back places you've been takes less torch. It only takes 1 torch per space instead of like 4. So that's something at least. But I love the writing in this game. It is absolutely fantastic. I love the art style. It is so good looking. It's very
Even the cold stones
it's
seem
very
bent on
unique.
preventing passage.
It almost looks graphic novel-esque. All right, we're hungry. Let's eat. Very nice. If you don't eat, you gain stress, which makes sense. But I've really got to say that I adore very much the characterization. All the classes are very interesting. They're very unorthodox. Like a mage that isn't a cultist, you know, basically he's Alhazred. A lot of his skills involve adding stress to people like himself because he's dealing with horrible eldritch beings. He's also often his skills actually reduce the torch level, so it like consumes the light. Yeah, the whole theme of the game is just so interesting. It's very, very well done. And I couldn't really ask for much more.
But yonder, a glint of
A map
gold.
at the very end. How useful. I was going to not use the torch until I opened that pack to see if I could get better loot, but alright, so since this is the last room, we're going to use our food, because of course we don't get it back anyway, so we're going to eat to help heal some dudes, and we're going to max out the light level for this room, since this is the last one.
As the light gains purchase.
I do like the risk-reward of the torch system. Very good. I've done a couple of adventures where I've just ran the torch out completely. It's a good way to save money, not buying torches, and it does get you some really good loot. You just have to really worry about the sanity of your adventurers. They do not like walking around in pitch blackness the entire time. But, you know. So enemy variety is pretty good. Lots of enemies have multiple skills each, so something to consider very much. And the actual dungeon variety is interesting as well. There are several different ones. Right now, in the current early access, there are 3 of the 5, and they're each pretty different, with completely different interactable object types and completely different types of enemies that you'll find. It's good. I like it. I think that the balance still is not quite there yet. It leaves a bit to be desired here and there, because you have things like, I wouldn't say the stress build-up is really a problem, especially after you get a couple of level 1 people. I think it's somewhat easy to get angry at the RNG nature of the game and, you know, be like, wow, that was an 85% chance to hit, I missed, and then they crit me like 8 times in a row, how does that happen? That kind of stuff can happen sometimes, but really, I mean, that's part of the course with games like this. If you've ever played a game like XCOM, like really any of the old dice roll based dungeon crawlers. I mean, Wizardry had that issue as well. The old Wizardry games, that sometimes you just get bad dice rolls and things don't go your way, and it's easy to get frustrated. But the game makes it to where it's also easy to get back on your feet, because you can just get more people from the cart, because of course it doesn't cost money to do that, and you can just, you know, do a level 1 mission because it doesn't stop generating those, and then just kind of build yourself back up and keep trying. It's very much a game where you will have to dig yourself out of the pits several times, but it's awesome. And that's a quest complete. That's every room explored. We got some good loot, so let's see what happens when we get out.
More bones return to rest.
Aw, yeah.
Devils remanded to their abyss.
So it automatically sells that stuff. By the way, the flavor text on items is awesome. Again, very, very Lovecraftian, very Lord Dunsany. Alright, so, oh, got some levels. Ooh, she's level 2 now. These guys are as well. Awesome. Yeah, we're getting some good stuff. And these mean that they got some new quirks. Sometimes negative, sometimes positive, sometimes both. Just because that's the way the characters work. They keep growing and getting new things. So my leper is not very good on the first round, but walking backwards doesn't give you stress anymore. That's kind of interesting that actually backtracking, like walking backwards, not going back to where you were, but like retreating gives you stress, which makes sense. So let's see, she got Last Gasp, which is awesome because she has low health oftentimes. My occultist got Backtracker as well, and Montfort the Vestal got Unerring. So we got a bunch of really good stuff except for Off Guard, which is pretty bad, and I might have to send my leper to the sanitarium to get rid of that because that's not good. But there we go, so that's 1 week done, and that's how the game goes. Okay, so Reynold the Crusader is no longer fragile, and we've got some adventurers now. They're level 2. There we go. Gonna have to probably send her to get, she won't pray, she'll only gamble. I don't want her to gamble because she'll probably lose me some gold and possibly good items, but what the heck, she needs the stress relief, so go ahead. Please don't gamble all my good stuff away. So yeah, that's the game in its current state. There are this many dungeons. The darkest dungeon and the cove are not in the game yet, but several bosses are. This is actually a boss level, so is that. That's what this means. There's a Necromancer Apprentice, the Wizened Hag. There are a lot of character classes in the game. You've got the Occultist, the Vestal, the Crusader, the Highwayman, the Jester, the Plague Doctor, the Leper, the Hellion, the Grave Robber. I think that's it, maybe? There's a lot of them. And of course they each have a host of entirely different abilities. Some of them work together very well. And the quirk system is very interesting, so that's Darkest Dungeon as it stands right now, everyone. I can't quite stop playing it. It's kind of a problem, even though it stresses me the hell out when I'm playing it. Again, it's a lot like playing XCOM for me. I'm like constantly sweating and stressing out. But that's Darkest Dungeon. It is in early access right now. I'll of course provide the link. It has enough content, I think, to be very much worth your time if this looks interesting to you. And they are updating it very, very often. Like, since it's been on EA, it's already had so many updates. It's had some, like, several a week. It's had updates, so at least like 3 or 4 times in a week, I think last week. So yeah, constant updates, and there's more to come. More items, more classes, including some sort of reward class, and more dungeons. So yeah, the balance might not be quite perfect yet, and it's very easy to get frustrated at the dice rolls that you come up with that sometimes aren't so good, but if you can stick with it, it's extremely fun. It's a really, really interesting concept, and I think that the guys over at Red Hook Games should be rewarded for their work. The narration style is great, the writing is fantastic, the entire theme carries this really heavy weight of sanity and of slogging through darkness and fighting whatever you can to try and make it back home. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to keep playing it, and I'm going to keep bringing you videos of it because this is probably my favorite game of the year so far. It has the potential to be on a lot of people's Game of the Year lists, I think, and once it's fully released, it's probably going to be on mine, so... It's only February, but seriously, this is extremely compelling, so there you go, guys. Any questions, any requests for more videos and things, I'll take them. Comments are below. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more. Cough, cough. That beautiful... that subscribe button down there. If you want to poke it, you can. Please. And I will bring you more soon. So, Darkest Dungeon, folks. Buy it now if you want. If you don't want, then you should buy it anyway because it's great. See you guys next time.